And I'm thinking, no way would you play on my mind and go and start waving bye-bye.
So the piano's built, which is kind of going to be the feature, if you like.
Yep.
We've also agreed to record, and as we said, wasn't overboard, but that's fine, which we self-funded in the end.
Yeah.
Very, very expensive, but we self-funded.
Yep.
So we need to make some money.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to say, like I say, we haven't set out to do that, but we would like music to fund itself.
Exactly. To at least break even.
Yeah, be nice. So really, in the grand scheme of things, 2024 was the year that music really actually launched.
Live shows began.
Yes. So that started on Home Turf.
Home Turf. Yeah.
With the big piano. We were kind of ready. We knew exactly what we wanted to put out.
Yeah.
And because we recorded, which is now so funny to look back on, it was very much and my first single will be Cheer Up.
Yeah, this other random song.
Yeah, which no one's really heard unless you've been to a live show yet.
Yeah.
It is coming very, very, very soon.
Yeah.
Famous last words. But yeah, so show number 1, CSP.
Yeah, so that was really interesting because we got that was one of those moments where the universe kind of came to our side. Basically, I got a really random message from a guy called Blake, who I knew from years and years in the band. He's a big venue entertainer. Sorry. What am I trying to say? He runs events in Canterbury.
Yeah. Event
manager, that's what I was trying to say. And his main thing I knew him for was something called City Sound Project, which is a big Canterbury festival, an urban thing, and we did it a lot with the band. Anyway, he really randomly messaged, felt out of the blue to me, saying, we're doing CSP in the Park, which is in the Dane John, on the bandstand stage, would you be up for playing? And I think I had to say, like, do you mean as me, or do you mean as the band? Because I don't know where the band is.
Yeah.
And he was, no, as you. And that was like, big moment. Because that was a first. Yeah. That was literally a first. And so I was like, oh, okay. And then there's that thing of, okay, well, yes, do we tie it in with something that's working our end? Like, so yeah, of course, it was like, yep, we're going to be releasing music, launching the act as well. Basically, the Canterbury people hadn't seen Dulcima play publicly on her own since I was 17. And even then it was a very small thing. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Huge amount of nerves, very, very daunting, because it was like, okay, you are actually now officially going out as just Dulcima. Just Dulcima.
Yeah. That poster had your name.
But it had Dulcima written on it. And, they were asking for, okay, can we have the text put on the, on the big screen behind you? And that was a big thing for me, because I was like, okay, cool, wow, I'm going to have my name.
That was incredible to see.
Exactly. And then I think I said, yeah, can I bring my piano? And he was like, okay. And I sent a picture and he went, oh yeah, okay. You can bring that frilly piano all you like. So we got, and the other thing, because of course I was like, okay, diving back in, public gigs, in front of a crowd that know me, they know the band, they knew everything, they haven't been given answers, I might get loads of questions. Yeah. There might be really high expectations. So I was like, okay, well, I'll do, what I can. Wore red, had this big frilly piano, but on top of it, I was like, right, I've got to play for whatever it was, 50 minutes, 45. And I was like, I have this really stupid worry that people are going to get bored. By half an hour in, girls singing piano, like, there's only so much people are going to switch off, because I don't have all these cool instruments around to sort of excite people. So I was like, right, okay, I'm going to gloss it up a little. And it's a contentious thing for acts to do this. I'm going to have backing tracks.
Yeah.
And that was a big, step out. It stepped out of my comfort zone, because I had to make the backing tracks, which I didn't quite know what I was doing. But I was like, if it makes, you're just playing sort of synthy sounds and sort of weird ambient sounds underneath you, or putting a drum beat. But then you have this weird thing of like, okay, well, if I'm watching a solo act as an audience member, is it weird if I suddenly hear drums from nowhere? Like that's a whole load, and there's every single thing you put on the backing track, you have to think, okay, will that really feel unnatural, or will that be cool, will that enhance the song, will that detract? every single step is so tiring, and you have to think so hard, and then you have to implicate it and know how to do that. And there's so much to do and learn. Having said all that, it worked really well. We had a fantastic sound man, because it relies on having a good sound man for that. Wonderful Adam. Love Adam. He's brilliant. Shout out to him. But yeah, but no, it was a really, and I remember, we arrived.
Yeah.
And we unloaded all of our piano pieces on the floor.
Of course, we were first ones there.
Yeah.
Early birds.
Proper.
They weren't ready for us at all. I think bands are quite notorious to last call that they can come in, but no, we were there prompt and early.
I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, ready to roll. So ready to roll.
But it was a nice warm day, like sunny day, and it was lovely actually. I had a big sort of extra special like little hug from Raf.
Yeah, because Raf was there. Yeah,
Raf was very
good. Raf.
Yeah, Raf had been very, very like heavily involved with the band. He knew what a big step this was. Yeah, and monumentally, it was there. Symbolically, it was very big. So he was like, "You can do it. Well done. Like, really proud of you." And he said all this, so I was like, "Thank you." And actually, although I was really nervous stepping up onto the bandstand, to stand on that stage, and I sort of felt a little bit comforted because I had this big piano that I could sort of like detract and hide at. Looking out, there was all those faces, and so many along the front I knew, and they had these big beaming smiles.
Yeah.
Like
people had travelled.
Yeah.
The girl from Canterbury.
Yeah. And like
in a Canterbury.
That was amazing. Yeah, that was so incredible, because it was like, it sounds really sort of naff, but it was like, okay, it's, you've come just for Just Dulcima. You've literally arrived and travelled, and you've got these big smiles, and you're shouting away, in a good way, clapping and cheering and stuff, and that was a wonderful thing. The one thing though I remember was sitting, and I have said this before, sitting at the piano and singing is lovely, but I couldn't look at these people, and I wanted to clock eyes and give them smiles and give them joke with them while performing, but like I used to. And I couldn't really, but it was great, and the gig was fantastic, and I hope it sounded good out front. Allegedly it did.
Yeah, no, it did.
So that was oh thank God. But yeah, I do remember thinking afterwards, oh God, it's brilliant as an act, but I need to develop it a little more so I can step away and look at people. And
what do you want it to become? Do you want to be hidden behind a piano?
Yeah,
that's where it's that bit of, is there enough stage presence?
Yeah,
are you enough of a stage presence?
Is it making the most of
what you can do?
Yeah. And it was funny because I had to think of an outfit. Well, I had to sort of think outfits around the fact you're not sort of standing and swooshing about, you're sitting still.
Yeah.
And really all people could see was an arm and the side of the leg, because I was side on, which is sort of fine, but even that was feeding into kind of, okay, well, that's changed how I would design the outfit now.
Yeah.
And really, I thought people were only going to really see me from there upwards. So I made the bottom of the dress really minimal. And now I kind of wish I didn't, but it doesn't matter. But coming off, and afterwards, coming off stage, a buzz like I'd never felt. Again, I think the gig could have been sort of anything, but it was a really good first gig. But coming off, it was just a wonderful atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that atmosphere would ever be recreated. After Coco gigs, that happened a lot, and there was this big buzz, and it was really lovely. And then to have had that, and I also remember in the walking around in the park afterwards, the collision. When you have people from that part of your life, and then people from that part of your life, and loads of others from different corners of your world, and they're all in the same place. You're like, my worlds are colliding, but they're all there with a big smile, and everyone's getting on. You're like, oh God, okay, everyone's met each other now. It was such a fun day. I loved that day.
Good.
I mean, yeah.
No,
everyone was clapping for me, so damn well I should.
No, it was brilliant, and massive thank you for the people that turned out, because
oh my goodness,
that's what made it.
Yeah,
because no one knew your songs.
No,
no one would have known what covers you were going to do as much as they might have known the covers.
Yeah.
It was a big event for the weekend, just to bring people. I think it was Maybank holiday, so people were just out in the park. It was a free event as well.
Yeah.
So people just utilised it to have a bit of a social time.
Have a drink in a park. It's great.
So it's quite easy for that to be people just sat around having a drink in the park and not background entertainment.
Yeah.
But you had these
exactly
fans there.
Yeah.
And just seeing the right faces in the crowd is unbelievable.
Yeah, it was second to none.
Yeah.
So
we definitely learnt a lot.
Yeah.
That was a big thing. I think we probably weren't as prepared as we thought we were.
No, despite having literally a rehearsal of how to put that piano together, we were very good.
That's the thing we got right.
That's what we could.
Putting the piano up, taking the piano down.
Yeah.
But tech stuff that you just haven't had to deal with in the last 10 years.
No.
All of a sudden is on us.
Yeah, and that's a massive credit too. It was always James who dealt with that.
Oh God.
Like I always knew. Obviously, it's an industry in itself. It's like it was such a big undertaking, and even though I was like minimizing it right down, I just needed this gear to do this. I don't know the world enough, that aspect enough. And so it was like, oh, okay, either I have to up my game or get someone on board, always as part of the team, sound engineer, and it's just
definitely. And I think now still there is that element of when we are talking about festivals this year, and we spoke on it when we spoke about Revival and how much the boys just jumped in. There is that element this year of, are we getting this right?
We need to,
And again, massive props to James because he helped us out again.
Yes, he has. Yeah.
But it's exciting to play live and get it right.
Definitely.
So we carried on then.
So we carried on. Yeah, I was going to say what.
Yeah.
And we kind of did it. So that was May. Then it was a bit of a break because in August there was a private booking from one of those lovely places.
Yes. Which was lovely. Do you know what? I loved traveling.
Yeah. It's like a mini
feeling wanted. Like
yeah, it was
because it meant a lot to be wanted.
Yeah.
Like
oh my God, it meant
sounds
so much.
Sounds ridiculous, but I really, really enjoyed that gig.
Yeah, it was.
Really enjoyed that gig.
It was really lovely, and it was a few hours drive from where we are in the UK. So it was a bit like road trip. I'm gonna go with the one thing I did bring a strange dress to wear on that event, but it's fine. It was part of the art.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good. And then we did another local.
Yes. Wait, is this Preston? I think we're Preston. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, that might be
right. Confused now. Yeah. Well, then and that was where the little mini upright came in because we were like, okay, some of these stage sizes won't quite, or it doesn't quite warrant having the big piano. So that's when the little mini piano got designed and made, and those were good. I felt like Preston Summerfest was a very rainy day, and I felt for the organisers of that event. Yeah. That's a local summer festival here.
I think it was new. Wasn't it?
It was brand new. Yeah. And
I think they'd done it previously, maybe pre-2020.
Yeah.
The first big year back.
We were sat in the car. We'd parked up, got everything ready. Again, piano pieces are all sort of laid out behind the stage. All the crew behind are like, that's weird. Okay.
Why is this girl just carrying NDF and
bringing flat back furniture around with her? But no, we just sat in the Nanmobile, as Abby called it. Sat in my car, waiting for the rain to stop, looking at what the audience was doing because it was a big field, which you had to really pack out to make it feel full. And of course, it was just torrential for most of the day. So I was like, of course, there's no flipping audience.
Well, the act before you came off.
Oh yeah.
In torrential rain. Yeah. And the guys had said to us, just stay there for a minute.
Yeah.
And of course, the field had dispersed under every tent they could find.
Obviously.
And we were like, it's on stage time. Do you want us to be? No, not yet. Just hold fire. But we eventually did get on stage. So a little bit late, not down to us.
Yeah.
We had a few sound problems.
That was one of those moments where it was like an onboard sound guy would be good. But it was the actual issue ended up being it was one of those silly small gremlin problems to do with my laptop, which I was not to know, they were not to know. And it was like a sort of final thought after an embarrassingly long amount of time. Sound difficulty. There's only so much you can say from the stage when you're sitting there ready and nothing's actually ready to go. And the audience are like, come on, stop.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they didn't say that. But
And it's really bizarre in those situations because I think this is where it's sort of what stage are you at when you're performing these sort of things compared to other things. You put so much time and effort into your outfits, and it's amazing to have those moments where you can walk onto the stage, get the applause and show off what you're wearing. And then you do a festival, which is completely different because you're thrown onto the stage. There's no real sound check. No, you almost want everyone. You almost want like a black cloth to come down and shut the stage. Or just like, can everyone just go away for like come back in 10 minutes?
Close your eyes for a bit.
But it was, you were sat behind the piano, we were just watching time. There were all sorts of, it wasn't just your laptop, there were
loads
of big problems.
And there's the telepathy. We have to have, like us do have to have a certain amount of telepathic conversations because you're so on show. You're on the stage, you've got the soundman here who we didn't know. And then there's the audience there. Everyone can kind of assess what's going on, but we have to have this little kind of like, okay, what are we going to say? Shall we like say we're going off? Should we tell them we're going off, or should we stay put? Should we suggest stuff? Should we not? Should we, does he know what he's doing? Does he? Yes, he seems to. No, he doesn't. There's all this where we're trying to know what we're doing? Do we know what we're doing? Have we done something wrong? Should we say anything to them? And you can't be just like gesticulating. You can't be getting visibly anxious in any way. You have to remain calm. Just because it all flows better if you do that rather than throwing a hissy fit. But it's such a sort of laughably stressful moment.
And then you just have to play.
And then
because you are late, people are watching. And it's just she started. But no, it was a good gig. Rain aside. No, and it sounded good. Like it was one of those ones where you came off at the end and you're like,
thank God I got through that.
We did it.
It was like unfortunately some gigs you start and halfway through you're like, I just want this to end. And it's nothing on the promoters, the venue, anything. No. It's just, I personally, the one person not enjoying it very much was the one singing. Because I think, again, we have said this, I can't hear what everyone else can. No. I've got basically fingers in my, like earplugs in my ears, hearing just the bare minimum, the necessity, and it's damage control the entire way. It's just like,
and you feel like you're making up for something that you haven't caused.
No. I remember saying that for the revival show. I remember saying to Annabelle, who was very new to performing live, and she was so sort of nervous for performing live, and I just said, well, because she was worried she'd do something wrong and it would ruin the whole thing. And I said, Annabelle, things are definitely going to go wrong. Like, get that out. It will. The best performances are when you've like muddled through it well enough, and everyone still, they know a fraction of what you know, as well, the audience knows.
Sense of achievement, isn't it?
Like just goes through and it's all kind of learning to deal on the spot with what's going wrong, because there will be.
So speaking of that, the pig. It's like you led me into that, wasn't it? The pig.
Oh my goodness, I think that's the closest we've been to finding it. No, I'm joking. I got stressed. We both got stressed.
Oh, it was awful.
But that's because we were nothing quite tied up for that gig, in my opinion. It was a badly positioned gig.
This is one of those ones where we didn't know enough of what we were having to do, which sounds ridiculous, but we are so used to turning up, plugging in and playing, and everyone else provides what
which
we
is
need.
Fair enough, in a way.
Absolutely.
The big official gig, that's normal.
We're not there anymore.
No.
We need to come right back down to earth and carry our own PA, which we did. Happily so. And you had the instructions. You plug this in here, this in here, this in here. It just didn't work.
So basically, we turned up, and it's the other thing as well. Though we were kind of in a space where we knew people would be milling, talking a little bit of that. And it's not like a shut up everyone and listen to me moment.
No.
It was your sort of background.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there was an element of like, okay, well at that point, how loud are we? How little can we get away with? Because I was thinking, okay, well just it's a bit like busking. Just take a busking amp and just go through that. And I think, thank God you were always there, because you were posted around, walking around while I was just testing. Of course we're testing it, but things you started and you have to say, sound check, sorry. And you're going, like, But anyway, obviously we had brought a speaker. So we had a speaker, which then, and a mixer, all this gear that we don't know how to use.
Yeah.
Turned out the mixer wouldn't do the effects for the vocals that we needed. One problem after another. And so then,
we're tucked in a corner.
We're tucked in a corner.
People are eating their lunch, which is fine. That's exactly what we signed up for. That's not a problem. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It should be the lovely clientele. It's a lovely summer's day. I think we weren't given perhaps the best of clientele at the time.
But it was badly, the logistics of it were awful. Because we were like, even when you're background, you kind of think you're not going to be on top of people eating. Like, and basically, I wasn't on their team. I was close to you. You're having a conversation with 8 of your friends or your family, and I'm there going, oh!
But even before then, we've got this, we took the upright, we've got the mic.
Yeah.
It's no discredit to them, I get it. But they're trying to move around their table and talk to each other.
Yeah.
And they're just banging us out of the way.
Yeah,
take the mic out, and it's we can't. We're in a flower bed. We literally couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's so disheartening to start a gig like that.
Yeah.
And it really does feel like you are.
Yeah. It was like back to it was
put on a CD player.
Yeah. It was one of those moments.
But I'm sure there was probably better word than CD player. I went with it. It's fine. Yeah.
That's true. It does kind of bring you. It literally brings you back down to earth. You're like, oh, that's kind of humbling, and it's good to do that sometimes to be humble
for getting ready.
Yeah.
Then the problem they had was you had too many people turn up.
Oh.
So there was people up the pathways, people on the benches. They stopped the restaurant running. They stopped serving drinks. And it's like, well,
I didn't actually
perhaps
know
we're
that.
not background music.
No, yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
It was a booking that was made. Yeah, it just didn't quite make sense. But when we get booking inquiries in, there's so much unraveling you have to find out before you say yes.
Yeah.
For this exact problem, it's not the artist for any artist. It's not the artist being a diva or being demanding or difficult. They just need to know, will it work?
Yeah.
Because you might think it works. I think we've been asked to do a while ago. We got asked to do like a private summer party for dancing, and I was like, I'm really questioning because I really wanted to do it as a neighbour, and I thought, they're lovely. I thought it won't work. I can see the social dynamics of that will not do what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
It's not dance music.
It's not dance stuff.
No.
It's background stuff, but it's not. Well, no, it's not. I didn't want it to be background. It's showcase stuff.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Sit and listen.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with the difference between the band, you did a few seated gigs and people kind of made comments of, we want to be up and dancing.
Yeah.
Which is what you could and can do and put on stage.
Yeah.
For you, as much as the festival fields will always be stood up, actually what we did with Revival and what we're doing with Create, which is another one we did in this same year, the seated really suits you being able to show off what you did.
Yeah, it does.
So Create.
Yeah, that was
final gig of 24.
Yeah. So again, we've done a good trajectory because we've kind of tried out all the different options just because now is the time to do that. But so the Create Festival, we knew it was going to be an arty, sort of art housey feel of a gig.
Yeah.
So grand piano definitely, and I was like, I really want to up the game a little as ever. So we've got 2 backing singers involved, and now that was really fun.
That was amazing
because I feel very confident singing with other singers, and I know loads in the time with the band, but also just peripherally, I know so many. They all happen to be female as well, fantastic singers. So asking around, getting, do you want to sing in the gig with me? Do you want to sing? And the people we ended up with was quite
iconic,
notable. So you had Annabelle, long-time best friend. I've known her forever. She hasn't gotten any experience in the music industry, so it was quite refreshing because to have her there. And then, of all people, we got Kayana.
Yeah.
And actually, it was brilliant.
That was a moment. That really was such a full circle moment.
Yeah, it was so full circle. And I think a lot of people thought, possibly what both Kiana and I thought, which was, are we going to get on?
Yeah.
Are we going to like each other? Are we going to be able to sing well together?
These are all thoughts from
a long time ago. Yeah, and it's nothing on, we didn't know each other. And there was a lot of poisonous words between us, which were, sorry, not of our doing.
Yes.
We'd been told separate stories about each other.
Yeah.
So there was but to then be in a room, because of course there was all the rehearsals we had to do, and being in a room, just the three of us, three girls, me, Annabelle, and Kiana, all singing, we obviously get to know each other a lot. And we had to like knuckle down and sing, because we spent most of it laughing and giggling and talking and just being friends. And it was just like, I love that. And of all the people, Kiana was like, no, come on, let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Like, and we would rehearse into the night. And I remember thinking, you're really good to be doing this. And
I will say just quickly, you and Kiana had built your bridge a long time ago. Not from this.
No,
this certainly developed such a professional,
proper bond.
But yes, everything was kind of
things were under the bridge. But you're right. Yeah. No, it was. So we were kind of coming at it from the same angle of what we were singing about and the emotions behind it. And she's no stranger to be to doing, songs that are very raw and open about her experiences. And I just loved the idea of when I was saying it to people, or even the audience when they turned up, they were like, okay, I guess what you did. Wow. And because of course then she did the support act as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So there was her doing the and she, like I said, she's very honest, very open. So she said, this is about a breakup.
Yeah.
And then
half the room are like,
oh. And then of course when we're both there, and she was very respectful as well. She said, how much do you want to say? Because I'm quite cagey about, sometimes it can be a bit cagey about what my songs are about. But I think we did acknowledge, especially on the most heart-wrenching of the songs we have, we said it's very rare you get two ex-girlfriends singing about the same experience of a breakup.
Yeah.
And it's mad. Like, to have been in that room, I felt it. I was concentrating on singing, and I was sort of thinking for them, thinking like, giving eyes of like, it's going amazingly, guys, don't worry, keep going. They didn't need it. They were doing amazing. But I couldn't tell what the feeling in the room of, the song was my songbird.
Yeah.
And I just know afterwards people were like, they would like, I cried so much in that song.
Someone in particular, not cried, I'm not going to point the finger at that, but obviously your biggest compliment of the night, or what I felt was your biggest compliment of the night, perhaps wrongly or rightly, Rob.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Singing that, him knowing everything he knows.
Yeah.
Singing that in front of him.
Yeah.
With you both.
Yeah.
On stage.
God, what a moment. And for him as well. He'd seen it twice over.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He was so proud of you and probably understood it the most of everyone. And we also had James in the room.
Yep.
It was incredible. Yeah. That was probably my favourite gig of the year.
Yeah. Oh yeah, same.
Yeah.
Because it was, well, we'd learned a lot by that point as well. Especially with sound issues.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, another one. It just never goes smoothly, does it?
I'm not going to name anything, obviously, but there are times you can turn up and you think it's all in hand, and it's not. And so we're there. The girls are brilliant. I'm brilliant. But we're there playing, sound checking, and the person in charge of the sound is not quite. It's not even that. You can tell it's wrong and it feels wrong. And we just did some a cappella. So we just did it, just us in the room. And I think James happened to be there. I think I did say, if you can be there, just to oversee, of course he's with Annabelle. So it was like, of course, I want it to go well. Just oversee. And we were like, it sounds better when we just do it without any amplification. At that time of the day, in that part of the sound check, we were like, can we just sack off having any amplification? We were going to that. I was thinking, oh God. And then James has to, again, it's all, the social politics are so difficult. He had to kind of step in, fix the sound, make it sound amazing, which is what he did, and then sort of step out again. Of course, the original sound engineer is a bit pissed off by that.
Yeah. It's so hard because they don't know what you can sound like.
No.
So that is where it's so easy for James to be like, of course, well, I know this isn't our best.
Yeah.
So it's not to discredit
that's
anybody at all. He was doing his job, and and we don't know what the room sounds like.
Good point.
So but it is
Yeah, this is
frustrating
more-
when it's like,
Yeah.
I'm sure if you just tried this, then sometimes, you do find people in the industry, not necessarily at this event, but at
No,
others as well.
in general, like,
They are unmovable.
it's difficult. It's just more barriers that you have to get. Again, that story really just highlights the brilliance of James.
Yes.
Really, more than anything. It's not just but it's just yet another sort of slight gamble that you have with every gig, unless you are in a position to bring along your own sound engineer.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Maybe, definitely.
Yeah.
So that was sort of up to where we are now, really.
That's where we are. Yeah, because
We've
Revival,
done Overboard,
obviously.
we've done Revival, yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't know how the timing works, but we have one on the 25th.
We do. So when this comes out, it will have happened. So we will. I'm sure.
Message to me in the past.
Yeah, it's gone amazingly well done. Edit that out. Oh my god, it was awful.
Oh, have it both.
No. So we'll have a chat about that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, definitely.
They are fun. It's really fun talking about the gig after the event.
Yeah,
and like telling everyone, if you were there, especially all the stuff that was going on backstage, or because that was the other thing with the Create one.
Yeah.
And again, having the girls, we had our like backstage area, and it was the first time I was like we were all getting ready around the mirror, and
amazing.
Yeah, and then obviously Revival, it was the same thing. All the girls doing their hair and makeup, and I'm not a girly girl. Like, I never enjoyed that when I was younger. We'll get ready for a party, but for a gig, it's completely different.
Yeah,
because there's so much more going on.
Yeah,
and you're all got nerves, but you're all kind of there's such a team spirit.
Yeah,
because you're all wishing the best for everyone.
Yeah,
and then
gin and tonic and something pizza. You've really done.
No, exactly. The band. The lads had a certain sympathy for like, oh no, Doz needs to get ready. There was an element of that, which was always really nice.
But that's still on your own right, off you go.
Yeah.
And especially with
kind of, times are ticking because we were often late.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it in a tent or is it in the back of the van?
Like the rearview mirror got a lot of these big
No. Good.
Yeah. Very fun. And gigs, I loved what you said about the Revival gig. Just gigs in general, bring out you to the best as well.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. I think they did, and Create did as well. Like, it's just such a fun. It's the team spirit thing. Like, everyone rallies together to get this what feels like a huge hurdle, or this massive performance underway and happening and finished, and a big cheer at the end.
I love it.
And they were all like smiles for the next week.
Yeah, it is genuinely that. The high you walk away from.
Yeah, it was insane.
And whether that's just achieving it and knowing you've done it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like an end of the day feeling of doing that. But when they're good, they're great.
Yeah, definitely.
So
we'll see.
We'll do some more this year, shall we?
Let's do some more. Yeah.
Let's, definitely. Yeah. 2025, get out there.
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool.
Fantastic.
Lovely chatting.
Have a lovely rest of the day.
And you.
And I'm thinking, no way would you play on my mind and go and start waving bye-bye.